All right, all right. Hello, hello. Welcome everyone back to a coastal edition, not on the beach edition, just because it's still cloudy today, but happy hour show with the famous, the fortunate with PH, the finished Buck and Dylan. What's going on, guys?
What's going on, sir? Having a great afternoon here. It's also cloudy on the east side of the state.
Yep. Well, hopefully tomorrow and the rest of the weekend and early next week is good. It's been a blah few days here recently. Up on
I do welcome the nice temperatures though. It's nice to sit outside right now.
Yeah, I mean it was a hot Florida summer. I know in Florida, I mean it's always warm, but about a month or two ago when I was down here, it was ridiculous for Florida even. So it was crazy. And Big K
Hello,
is
gentlemen.
Oh, hola, sir.
Hello, gentlemen.
You sound good. Sounds good. So, got like an hour or so to talk a whole bunch of things. I mean, and reason I just love having fucking Dylan on over the past few months is they're actually launching
Things are happening
in products, and you can actually use them not on a test net. And you know it's quite wonderful to see, and people actually have coins in their wallets, and they can do things with their coins, and they can provide liquidity with the coins. We'll get into all that. Big K, man, how you doing?
Oh, dude, I'm glad to be here. I've both made and lost money using these platforms. Yeah, that's fun.
But have you made the leaderboard on Famous?
No, I am not. I like the little bit I lost is playing around on Famous. You know, I am terrible at all that, so it's just that was for fun. Fun. No, I like it all. You know,
Nice.
Minute.
Nice.
Well, I just got back, I guess, here to Florida from the Pulse Chain tour that was up in Atlanta. It was a really cool facility.
Yeah, tour.
Yeah,
how'd
just want
that
to
go?
shout out. It was good. If you've never been, I'd never realized that they actually had a blockchain facility there. But the guy Marlon has actually created like a really nice space for crypto Web3 development in Atlanta, and he actually got invited, I guess, to that DC panel thing with all those execs and founders and crypto enthusiasts and whatnot to meet with Congress this week. Not exciting to some, but it was just cool to see him there. And SJ, RG3, Black Hexagon, they just keep the tour going. So it was good. It was good to meet a lot of different people, fans of Pulse Chain, Pulse X, and a lot of the PH ecosystem. I talked to a lot of attendees, and I think the majority of those I talked to had some PH coins. So that was like really cool to hear. So,
wow.
Yeah, as a fan myself, and all the things, the entire ecosystem, both the RH and the PH. So it was really cool to hear. Buck, sir, just wanted to touch on this, while we're talking traveling. You've been doing a little traveling yourself. Feel free to disclose, where you went, but it sounds like you rubbed elbows with plenty in the crypto community. What have you, gathered from those elbow rubbings, sentiment-wise? How are things out there?
Yeah, so I was at a conference in Singapore called Token 2049, which is a kind of the biggest conference in the Eastern Hemisphere, I would say. Our good friend Eric Wall was there. I made sure to steer clear of him. He wore very short shorts while speaking on a panel, which I think is probably not a good look for a man of his age and persuasion. But yeah, no, all the heavy hitters were there. You had the Winklevi, you had Balaji, you had Brad Garlinghouse, CZ, Justin Sun. I mean, it was pretty much everybody. I didn't see the big guy RH there, unfortunately. I was hoping I was hoping maybe he would just show up, or maybe I'd seen him at one of the side events, but didn't happen. But yeah, no, I think the general vibe was, that everybody's got a real hard on for ETFs, and that they're coming next year, spot ETFs in America, and that this is going to basically, whenever that does happen, when they seem to think it pretty confidently that it's going to happen in Q1, that this is going to kind of enable the next leg of real money to flow into crypto. So I thought it was very interesting. The CEO of Franklin Templeton was there. Franklin Templeton probably doesn't mean much to most of you guys, but they're a major asset manager. And they're basically entering the market to compete in stable coins effectively, except their stable coins are going to be very interesting in that it's actually going to provide money market yield. So like imagine, like a USDC that pays you the Fed funds rate on top of it, right? So you're getting, a 5% yield, which is a major improvement, right? So like, but it might not be the kind of thing that excites degenerates, but it excites people that have real money that they want to put into the space. So yeah, it was pretty good. And I think the other kind of key takeaway I had was that everybody really hates Gary Gensler. The SEC,
Worldwide.
The SEC thing, like we're actually in really good company, and I think Balaji and I think Tyler Winklevoss, kind of had a really scathing thing where they just went off on, how useless the government's been about this for years, and how if you've had trouble with the SEC, it's almost like a badge of honor. And everybody seemed very confident that that things were going to get better in this regard as well.
Nice. You brought up stable coins. How about something that wants to be a stable coin one day, but this PDI thing. I've seen you comment on it in various forums and chats, but what's your latest take on this? Are we finally done this thing, or is it so intriguing that this thing is going to have life? Dylan's waiting. Because there are tons of people that are passionate about this thing, and even those I spoke to in person. Not as many as held PDI, but there were some passionate PDI folk there, and it's still there. So no comment. I figured. Is Franklin Templeton the manager at Applebee's? The crypto people probably think so, but I think Buck just described the importance of that entity. So thanks, Briz. I knew you would always come through with a question like that for Buck.
A useful one, definitely.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if that was a question meant for me,
or anyone really, but yeah.
Well, it looks like Big K is a little bit busy over there. So. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been following the PDI thing, Dylan. So I don't really have anything to.
It's.
Well, Dylan, you were waving bye-bye earlier. Expound on that, please.
It's down 63% from the top 14 days ago.
And I have not. I guess like social media is a good metric on that because I haven't seen my timeline as clogged nearly.
Yeah, true.
With that, so I kind of figured I don't really check it either, but I kind of figured it was not performing as well because I haven't really read much about it over the past few days.
Here's my take on the PDI thing. It's a glorified meme coin, and meme coins are fine. Like I don't want to really run afoul of all those guys that are going to now attack me. But what I dislike about it is the dishonesty behind it. There's a lot of people saying things that can't possibly be true. That it's going to peg magically at $1 someday, and that RH is secretly behind it, and things like that. When I see stuff like that, I don't like that because I think that's really, really false advertising, and there's been a lot of that with this.
That is true. That is true. I mean, there's a ton of fan fiction around what it can possibly do, and I think that Tanto Naomi did a good excerpt on Twitter where he pulled apart the contract and read the code, and it's basically a boilerplate ERC20. It's not actually doing anything fancy or unique behind the scenes. So like people that have some sort of belief that it is can check that shit at the door.
Yeah. Well, and we've seen this before with things where, people use, like people are trying to say Dodeca was like, secretly endorsed by Richard Hart.
I remember that thing.
Yeah, and I don't know, anytime I see people kind of claiming that sort of stuff, I tend to think that's not cool.
Yeah, I mean, just because usually a lot of times it's because some early wallet, was in early on it, and that really has that's not a good enough, reasoning for some sort of link. It's just people that say that shit. You're just like, come on now.
Yep, exactly. If Richard wanted to endorse it, he would start talking about it. Like it's that simple. And I don't think that's the one he's going to endorse if he's ever going to endorse anything that's not his.
Yeah. And I mean, he wasn't afraid to talk about, wrap Bitcoin or the link stuff or, wrap Aave, all that's, or, just the derivatives themselves. Right. So, all those got gauges or farms on PulseX. Right. And then I think 3 of them, one of them was exploited. Some whale dumped his copied over wrap Bitcoin for $1 million. And then the fucking Pepe guy who dumped his $1 million worth of Pepe and, basically gave Richard the middle finger. And then Richard's like, all right, no more. I'm done. And then pulled all the farms. So, but yeah, no PDI in that. So.
Yeah. And like, on the other hand, I'm happy to let people have their games and play their games. Like, you know what I mean? Like, with that wrapped Bitcoin stuff, same. I felt the same way. It has some value. I don't know what it's gonna be. It's not gonna be $1, but it's gonna have some sort of speculative value that people can punt around on and try to play musical chairs with each other, basically. So, and I guess that's one of the cool things we can do on PulseChain currently.
Yeah, it's kind of one of the things I was saying at the tour over the weekend is, if you're a fan of PulseChain, you're a fan of all this stuff, whether it's, you deem it garbage or not, or pure speculation, it's activity on the chain. And it's it is what it is. People are going to have their tastes. They're going to fool with what they want. But in the end, hopefully, more people come to the ecosystem. And I believe it was like a couple of weeks ago, a lot of money went out from the PDI and the Tropa over into the RH ecosystem. So you kind of like saw that shift briefly, and that's could be a harbinger of things to come with more people get into not just PDI stuff, but perhaps other coins, and they come over and they actually see value on the chain. Perhaps some of that value, as we initially hoped before PulseChain even launched, could translate over into the other RH coins. So yeah, very important question from Oomph in the chat. Pepsi, yes, this is about as much as pure Pepsi as Big K has a purple unicorn horn there. So this has a little extra in it, just like Big K's thing.
I'm also drinking a little bit of Pepsi products myself. Mountain Dew.
But does it have rum in it, sir?
No, it doesn't. I go get some.
All right, there we go. But yeah, Mr. DJ, it's happy hour time already. I know it's one day early, but logistics and
close enough.
Yeah, close enough.
It's Friday here, so that's
yeah,
good.
it's Friday.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little legacy because Q4 starts Monday, and we'll be brief with it because most people tune in for crypto talk, but it does affect crypto, and indirectly or directly.
They didn't
directly. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've had, just kind of mucking along here, 4,300 in the S&P. A lot of people have targeted 4,200 as like maybe the next bottom that we get to, I don't really care about all those levels, but I guess we got PCE tomorrow. But I think the real driver and what everybody's waiting for is earnings, and what kind of reports are we going to see in the next month or two out of these companies? And if they're good and they're sustainable, then I don't think things get too crazy in legacy, and we could see perhaps more stability in crypto, and maybe Q1, like you were saying, if we hold up well, we get some maybe some ETF news by then. Maybe we've had the foundation and we're good to go.
Yeah, they held off on raising rates a week ago too.
That's
So
true.
that's cool.
We're now paused at, what is it, 5.25 or something like that, right?
I think it's 5.25. I mean, I think they're pretty much. They may have one more hike in November.
They may have one more, and they have 2 meetings before the end of the year. So, but highly unlikely that they do it in December. But
Let's say you buck fiat von boat accident.
So yeah, I think I'm pretty much agreeing with consensus. I think you're going to get another hike later in the year, and they'll the curve's pretty steeply inverted, so you're gonna see yields start to drop next year. So 24 looks like a potentially an interesting setup, because if you do get that dramatic decrease in inflation and the corresponding drop in bond yields, and you add that with spot ETFs, and then maybe regulatory clarity, or at least properly kicking the can down the road, maybe a regime change in the White House that might be potentially more favorable towards crypto as well.
It definitely would be. I don't know about the likelihood, but
well, yeah, I mean, it's early yet, right? These things have a way of surprising you, right? More so than you think, right? If you look at the last few elections, Trump looked like he was going to win the election last time by a mile until COVID happened, right? And then what happened, and I think the election before that, it was supposed to be a coronation for
Kill Dog
for crooked Hillary,
yeah.
And that didn't happen, right? So I feel like it's those things are really unpredictable, and a lot can happen between now and then as well, right? So we could have President Kamala, kind of.
Oh no!
No, seriously, it could happen any day now, right?
Oh yeah. By default, yes.
By default, yeah. No, she's not going to win an election. But yeah, exactly. So, there's really just a lot of different possibilities there. But anyway, so getting back to what I was saying, dropping bond yields, more institutional investment coming from traditional finance via spot ETFs. I think those two things really point to a rising tide lifting all ships at some point. So that keeps me a little bit happy and excited about the future. But it may just be in order to get there first that we're going to have to actually upset markets. So you were hinting at earnings and things like that. We may have to spook the Fed into cutting. So maybe a few things are going to have to break, right? That's the question. So do they start cutting without having that collateral damage first, or are they gonna need to see more collateral damage before they get scared into cutting?
I don't even think they cut without that. I mean, I just think we're above 5% for a long time until higher for longer, as they say.
Yeah, well, if that's the case, then that's not great news for risk assets in crypto. You should probably go sell all your crypto, actually. But I think you'll see rates drop down to like 3% or something like that next year.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
I'm on board if it happens, but I guess there'd be near-term pain because something would have to go bad for that to happen that quickly, I would think.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Bad things can happen pretty easily. We were nearly there with the bank crisis 6 months ago, but then they came and bailed out everybody. So I actually thought we were going to get here earlier because of that, but that basically by bailing out all the banks, they were able to basically just keep the party going for a lot longer. But there's a whole bunch of businesses that are going to start to really be impacted by these higher interest rates. The guys that have borrowed floating, Michael Saylor, shout out to you, buddy. They're going to start to feel a bit of an impact with these higher rates, because it's going to start to cut into their earnings and their debt serviceability.
Yeah, Alex was talking about this the other day with commercial real estate as well, and those floating rates and stuff coming due in Q1 of next year. So about $1 trillion in loans, right?
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny is America's sort of the exception of this because almost everywhere else in the world, everybody borrows floating. So it's already kind of having big impacts. It's one of the reasons why the U.S. dollar is so strong at the moment as well. Great time for Americans to go overseas and take that vacation, right? Because the USD is quite strong because most countries are basically leaving their rates a little bit lower than the United States. Is just because they're really worried about what they'll do to their debt markets, their mortgage markets, if they raise rates as high as the United States has, and what that means is that their local currencies are getting weaker. So yeah, if you wanted to go to Europe or Australia or Asia or whatnot, basically any place that isn't pegged to the U.S. dollar, so it's a pretty good time for Americans to go do that.
Not only do we have crypto chat, we also have travel advice here on the Happy Hour show. So, thank you, Buck, for that. No, it actually makes perfect sense. And I mean, how long do you see this dollar staying this strong? Because dollar, does weaken. That's good for crypto, right?
Yeah, so we're probably at a local high for the U.S. dollar. I think the Dixies, last time I looked, it was like around 105. So I think it'll probably pull back in the short term, but I think you're going to see dollar strength as a theme for years. That doesn't mean you can't have a crypto rally, though, at some point, even in that trend. But yeah, I think U.S. dollar strength's likely here for quite a while. That's really a reversal of globalization causing that, as well as at the end of this kind of 40-year bond market, bull market for bonds that we've had. But yeah, I think USD is probably likely to be quite strong for a while.
You got it. And Wild SJ appears. Good seeing you, SJ, over the weekend. And also want to give you a shout out. All right, shout you out earlier in the show with RG3 and Black Hexagon for doing such a great job with the tour. But I also picked up a little something from you, and I just happen to have it on stream here. This little pineapple moonshine I got from SJ, and it's got quite the bite. But cheers.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Cheers.
That's got quite the bite. Anyway, thanks, SJ.
Is that homemade moonshine?
Hell yeah.
She got it from a guy.
Yeah, that's the best kind, man.
You Southerners, man. You guys just.
I don't know of any other way you get moonshine. I mean, I guess they have store-bought stuff, but it's not the same.
It's not
that's shit. That's garbage, man. Don't buy that shit.
Yeah.
You're gonna go fucking blind drinking that stuff.
We're gonna fall off the balcony.
My dad gets some from Kentucky. They make it in the mountains.
Oh, that's the mountain boys. Yeah, they make some moonshine. Yeah, this is made in South Carolina. Yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah, that's about 3 cases of brandy shine from a friend of mine a few years back, about 10 years ago now. It was one of the drunkest short periods of my life.
Yeah, it don't take much, man. A couple swigs and
a lot of.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Was it in a mason jar? Because if it's in a mason jar, it's good.
Yeah. Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cases of mason jars. It was too much. More than I needed. More than we needed. It was an off the cuff moment. I was like, I'll take 3, you know. And when he showed up with 3 cases, I was like,
Okay.
oh fuck. So.
And stocked for the rest of your life. So yeah. But yeah. Rags had a whole test to see how good the shine was. So that was R2R approved shine. Excellent. So,
I'm,
yeah,
I'm starting to understand the why you guys make the investment decisions that you do now.
That's why excuse me, my Cabana.eth address on Famous is the worst performer. No, it doesn't exist.
No, I'm the worst performer.
I was about to check. I was like, wait, what?
I don't even have Cabana. I don't think I do. I got Cabana.pulse though.
You know, it's funny.
Yeah.
Buck talks about performance, but I'm looking here at the the biggest loser on Famous right now, and it's Buck. He's the number 1 of the lowest P&L right now.
Well,
he must be on the juice, man.
Yeah,
I don't know, Buck.
That's one of the things are working the way I want them to. But yeah, I hope I'm always in the bottom of that list by a mile. That would be great.
Operation Liquidate Buck is according to plan.
it is.
Please liquidate me all the way to $1 hacks, guys. I thank you.
I am down for this. Let's get it done. Well, since we're talking about PH, that's a big part of this show, probably the meat of it today. Dylan, I don't know if you have like some show and tell, but PHUX Famous obviously was the one that just launched, I think, within the past week or so. We've already had Fiat live for, I want to say, months now. But yeah, I guess my question to you guys is, how has the launch gone? Have you seen it go? I mean, it looks like it's gone flawlessly. Everything was audited. It's just going as good as can be in a bear market for such thing as the RH ecosystem. Many would argue this is where all the action is right now, and you guys are just knocking it out of the park.
Yeah, so I think this is our third product in 3 months, right? First we did was it PHUX that we launched first? I'm lapsing my memory here. Yeah, so we had PHUX first as the actual product that came out, and then we had Fiat. Now, however, Fiat
it's technically eFiat, rest in peace. But
yeah, so eFiat exists on ETH. So that we launched that in April of 2022, or no, April of this year. Yeah. Yeah, that did well. That was free token for everybody. That sacrificed for Fame and Fiat. And all the guys that enjoyed that, they enjoyed it. They got some liquidity when there basically wasn't very much in the market. And then we launched Fiat in the first 10 hours of Pulse Chain. That did great. It's still doing multiples over the SAC rate, if I'm not mistaken, right, Buck? And then we launched PHUX after the mishap on PulseX V2 or PulseX V1, right? I think that was launched relatively quickly after that was found, like 2 to 3 weeks after. And then I think we had 4 airdrops so far for PHUX. One of which was to the Fame guys, and that was 20% of their SAC they got back in a PHUX airdrop, which is pretty fucking cool. So Fame guys have been taken care of. Fiat guys, obviously, they got their airdrops. They were taken care of.
Yeah, the ones where you take care of people who you like what they do with their coins, those are really lucrative for those good actors out there in chat. Just saying, in case there might be more. I'm not going to speak for you guys, but they have proven to be very nice.
Yeah, I mean, Buck likes to reward people that he, that appreciates and does helpful things to the community. So that's what he said. So perhaps there will be, things like that in the future. I don't know. I know there's going to be more airdrops. Maybe Buck has some insight on when the next one may be. Maybe we'll find out today. I don't know. And then, and now we've recently launched Famous. The coin was trading last weekend. Or the 2 weekends ago. It went well. And it's currently kind of in the middle ground of the guys that sacked in the very first round. They're in profit. And then especially the guys that sacked Pulse and PulseX, those guys are up multiples on their coins that they sacrificed, right? So dollar-wise, obviously the market is retraced since the sack was on for that round. But, they're pretty happy with if they're selling now for the coins that they sacrificed for, they've made multiples. So I salute you guys for taking the Westcott challenge, right? You're getting a 3x on your PulseX. So congrats.
What kind of price range have we seen? It's been like 45 to how far did we get up to? 70 maybe?
So on Gecko Terminal, which is the best place to find your prices. I think Fame went up to 90 cents or something like that.
90. Wow. All right.
Yep, it's almost $1. Yep. But that's pretty good. I mean, considering how many fees we're pumping out right now, I think we've been out for 5 days now, and we're ticking up to 40K in fees. So that's not bad at all, right? So, and that's
yeah, for those who might not be familiar, now that the protocol is live, could you just give us like a very basic operation of like why this token exists, what you can do with it, like what's the benefit of actually owning it? You can stake it, of course. For others out there, they might want to provide liquidity for it, and you could go down the rabbit hole of like particular pools and whatnot. But there are a bunch of things that you can speak on probably just to roll out the benefits of this thing.
Of course, yeah.
Those who might not be familiar.
Yeah, so Famous is the place to trade your Richard Hart coins on Pulse Chain in a decentralized manner with leverage, right? You can hedge yourself. You can take on more risk. You can even be the house, right? You can be the casino via providing liquidity and allowing others to take out margin on your tokens, right? And they can speculate and do whatever they need to do. And then the last thing you can do here is you can use the Fame token to stake it, and you get 40% of the revenue generated on the platform, right? So many ways you can utilize this platform. I like to mention that this is a fork of GMX, which in 2022 outperformed basically everything in the bear market. When everything was dying, everything was hemorrhaging money. Luna, BlockFi, Celsius, all those guys were going bankrupt. GMX was increasing its TVL. It was pumping out fees on the daily. And it was the shining star in the bear market, right? So I think throughout that entire period of 2022, it paid out approximately $120 million in fees, right? And that's cash, right? That's not Ponzi-nomics, self-inflating coins. That's cash. That's a beautiful thing, right? So if Pulse Chain gets any sort of liquidity injection, and we have guys providing for PHLP as it's growing, the fourth day, so obviously it's going to take time to grow, but it is growing, and we have these guys with open positions, paying hourly rates to hold open their leverage. There's no reason why this thing can't pump out fees like it does over on Arbitrum, right? So it's day 5, like I said earlier, and we're at $37,000 in fees. There's been $3,000 of fees paid out today, and I think there's an impressive $1.2 million in open interest. So that's people that have current leverage trades open at the moment. They're waiting for the prices to go up or down. There's 3.3 million in shorts and $3.3 thousand in shorts, and then or 300K, Jesus Christ, and then 900K in longs, right? So a total of here. Let's just go here to the analytics page, Fame.io stats. Watch this load. Here we go.
There's some fun addresses on that sheet too, by the way.
Yeah. All those we'll get into that later. But this is your place. If you're a stat geek, you want to see growth, you want to see potential, this is where you want to go, right? You can see this is trading volume. This is the day we launched. And what was this? The 22nd of September until today. So you can see volume is steadily increasing overall. People are currently holding open the highest amount of, oh, somebody closed some trades today, but this was higher than it was the day prior. Looks like it's down 50K or something. But overall, the open interest is pretty high. I think some shorts might have gotten liquidated. That's probably why we've gone down, because the shorts decreased, by 50K. So that makes sense. Looks like the traders are on an update today. So this is the traders net P&L. You care about this, in the long run. If you are a liquidity provider for PHAME, meaning you've deposited either, any Richard Hart coins, meaning Pulse, PulseX, and Hex, or you're depositing ETH or Wrapped Bitcoin, or any of the 3 stable coins that are on Pulse Chain at the moment, and you're providing liquidity for others to trade. You care about the traders P&L because, if they lose and their collateral is liquidated, right, you get that liquidation stuff, okay, exclusively, okay? So the stakers, they don't get that. You, as a PHLP provider, you get that stuff. So, you're happy when they lose, which over the long run, typically speaking, when you see these casinos, as long as people are playing over the, if we're talking short term.
Dylan, just I want to make sure to answer Brazology's question, because as usual, he's wrong. So no, Brazology, you don't need to stake your PHLP. It's just constantly accruing like any other LP pool. So there's a way to track the NAV in the app, but yeah, you don't have to do anything. But that's a good question for once.
There you go. There's the NAV and market price. That's what we're just talking about right now. Bam. There you go. But yeah, so if you're a PHLP guy, right, over the long run, you're okay. We're gonna go out on a limb and say you're not trying to 30x margin trade as a PHLP provider, necessarily speaking. You're in it for the long duration, right? You're in it for the fees that are accrued over a period of time. You're not trying to make a quick 200% overnight, right? So naturally, as this thing has volume, has traders that are speculating, there's a reason why Binance holds so much Bitcoin. There's a reason why BitMEX has hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of Bitcoin in their insurance reserve or whatever. And then same thing with Bybit, right? They have lots of Bitcoin because that's these guys that margin trade. Some of them are happy to take on the losses, right? Like Buck, for instance. Okay, he's we're making fun of him, saying he's the top loser right now, and that's great because that means he was hedging himself by going short, and the market is up today, right? So he took on that tiny insurance policy to ensure that if the market was going down, he could stomach the dip and make a little bit of money off of it, right? So he took out a high leverage, short position, and it is currently, the insurance premium that he paid will, be forfeited if we keep going up, right? But if we went down, like I said, he would have been able to stomach that, made profit on it, and not have to have tolerated the entire dip per se, right? It kind of smoothed out his volatility.
Yeah, so it's probably worth anecdotally just explaining to the audience, Dylan, with these things. The whole purpose of derivatives is always historically been for people that have natural exposure to commodities to originally to start to hedge themselves. So the derivatives market was basically started by farmers who would produce things like grain or wool or whatever, and the prices of those commodities go up and down, right? So that's why the commodities exchange is based out of Chicago, because it was Midwestern farmers, basically. It's a really tough business, right? You get years with rain, years without rain. You can have bumper crops or, just, have years where you don't grow anything. So that has a big impact on prices, historically speaking. So the whole point of derivatives is to basically use those to manage your overall risk. So a farmer would basically lock in a price 6 months in advance, so that they don't bring their grain to market and have to sell it for pennies or something like that in a year where there's just an oversupply. So you want to use
even airlines do it with like fuel costs. Too,
sure.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Delta even owns oil refineries, or at least they used to, for this reason, right? So I'm a natural hedger because I've got massive exposure to this ecosystem. So I can very happily put on a short and lose $10,000 because on the other side of it I'm making so much money that I actually want to be liquidated. But if something really bad happens, I'll have like a little bit of a little bit of my exposure hedged. Just go straight back to the page. There you go. I'll have a little bit of my exposure hedged, and I'll be able to reload at lower prices with that if I choose to. So I think Richard's told people for years, like, don't trade, trading's terrible, these things are awful. It's true if you're a child and you don't understand the right way to use them, which is oftentimes the case. But like, there's actually perfectly good reasons to use these things. Now, some people will just want to punt and gamble, and that's fine as well. But like, don't let people tell you that this isn't a useful tool. It's an incredibly useful tool. And one of my favorite things that I'm doing with it is providing PHLP, which the yields on it I think are probably, we're going to calculate them in a few days, but they're going to be pretty healthy yields, and they might be over 100%. I don't it depends on how you calculate it. So the yields on PHLP are pretty interesting because you're getting 60% of the platform fees. So we've done close to $40,000 in fees in the first week. That's impressive because there's not very much going on in Pulse Chain at the moment, right? So you have to try to imagine what this can look like in a period where there's actual lots of speculation and interest in Pulse Chain and things like that. You're gonna see at some stage volatility creep back in. Hopefully volatility that involves going up for once. But
That'd be nice.
But yeah, volatility in either direction will naturally generate fees. So we think we're in a really good spot here because basically there was another fork that's totally failed, and we got $1.6 odd million in our PHLP pool and growing. The whales are starting to use this. They're starting to learn how to use it. That PHLP pool is probably going to grow 5-10 fold, and that's going to enable some pretty big trading on this thing over time. So we're still very much ramping up to what we can be and will be. And we've got a natural monopoly here as well because of no exchanges listed us, let alone have derivatives around us. So we're literally the only place you can do this. And I think we're the only team competent in this way to run such a thing in a DeFi way. That's running this stuff. And then additionally, what some of you guys might start to see is the sort of cool things that you can do between the platforms. So you can take your PHLP and provide LP on PHUX in this 4G pool or PHortune. There's $700,000 in it. Pretty healthy yield, as you can see. This is half PHLP, half PH coins. So for those of you guys that are big in PH and stuff, this is sort of like going to be our key liquidity pool, I think, because that PHLP can grow to be millions. And if you think about it, it's PHLP is half Richard Hart coins plus a little bit of ETH and BTC, and half stable coins. So it's sort of a natural LP position. That also, by the way, any of you can pair. If you want to pair Mintra to PHLP or liquid loans, it's actually not a bad idea if you think about it, because it's a very nice diversifier. So that can grow dramatically, and you can get paid pretty handsomely in PHUX yield to provide LP in that pool as well. And yeah, it's already doing quite a bit of volume as well, even given that the pool is really only a couple days old. So so that's one thing we're doing. Fiat.io, by the way, the people are starting to finally figure out how to use that. If you go to the markets page, Dylan, you can start to see there's pretty healthy deposit rates now on the stable coins. So some of you guys may want to go avail some of those healthy deposit rates. Some of you guys may want to borrow stable coins or Pulse or PulseX to go long or short on PHAME.io. So basically, we've carved out a little niche of 3 kind of essential DeFi protocols, and it's a huge competitive advantage that other people don't have, because like while the Aave and the Balancer guys work together a little bit, they're 2 different teams, right? Whereas we're basically the same 3 people, myself and my 2 partners managing this. So we basically have the competitive advantage in that we can kind of direct traffic, and there's still a lot of work left to be done in this regard. There's still a lot of things that we're going to be working on in terms of listing things or improving analytics or making things easier, and ultimately Fatty's going to connect everything. So I think like watch this space, because I think we're going to probably, when you look at the whole PH ecosystem, I think going to be the biggest thing on Pulse Chain. Like I think it's going to be bigger than PulseX, to be honest. When you add all our stuff up, we're doing tens of thousands of dollars of volume already in fees already on PHAME.io. Like that, shows you that there's a product market fit, and like that's impressive, right? Just right out the gate to be able to do that. So I think a lot of people, you have a chance to get in to what we're doing. You have a chance to learn about it. A lot of this stuff is free. Like PHUX is basically, we're giving away for free to people who provide LP. We're excited to see more people come online as well, because we're going to be supporting them. Liquid Loans, I think, is about a month away. So we're going to be supporting them with stable pools. I got a thank you from the guys from Coast yesterday, because we helped them launch their stable coin with a stable pool here. Not easy to launch a stable coin, but we've built up a pool with $2.8 million in liquidity there with them, which is essential for them because it's giving them a peg. And that bridge stable pool basically pegs the rest of the bridge stable coins. So we're I think an essential cog in the whole Pulse Chain ecosystem, and much maligned by some of the 70 IQ hexagons, but that's okay. And yeah, God, if we just get any kind of good news in Pulse Chain ever, just think what this means. I mean, it's a very enviable position to have in an economy to have leverage trading, to have the second biggest DEX, to have the only borrowing and lending platform, right? Fantastic place to be.
Yes, it is. It's pretty awesome. I mean, as a fan of free tokens, y'all have delivered thoroughly. And due to the incentivization that y'all have put together for everything, majority of the free tokens that I am very excited to get, I did not hold on to very long, but this is not the case in this situation. So I've been very thoroughly pleased with everything as it's gone on. So yes, if any other good news in a broader sense comes along, it would be fantastic. But this has been for sure the shining light of Pulse Chain so far. So thoroughly appreciate everything you all have done. I really do. I also have got a text message that my son is watching, so I'm supposed to wave and say hello, James. He's 2. So it's probably been pretty tough for him to watch through all that. That was a lot of media information. So, buddy, good job.
He might have absorbed more than some people in this space. I'm just saying.
Well,
Very true.
he's probably
I believe.
he's probably got a higher IQ than most of.
That is true.
I left it to Buck to go that far, but yeah.
At least he hasn't been rotting his mind with moonshine for years.
Shit.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't follow fully in my footsteps. Steer him some other ways.
So having said that, like, it's not all about us, like, because our ecosystem gets more valuable as other people come online. So like, I'm actually legitimately excited to see Liquid Loans and Power City and Mintra and the other. I don't know who else is coming. I assume there's a bunch of other people. Dylan, who am I forgetting?
I mean, yeah, BankX. Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Godwell, shout out to Godwell.
There's other meme coiny stuff. You've got 9inch.
Oh, yeah,
that's
9inch
also
is going
doing
out.
their thing. You've
Oh
got,
yeah, 9inch. Yes, sir.
They've got the cats that have been working on a legitimate, that have already a pretty decent block explorer solution. What's a 9mm? Is that what
Yeah,
it is?
that's right. And then how could we miss Alex? He's doing some stuff with Hedron, Icosa, and all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
So I know you're going to be happy about that, Buck.
Yeah, I need to go down that rabbit hole.
Icosahedron.
Yeah, I mean, so I think pretty much everything terrible that can happen's already happened to Pulse Chain, except for maybe two things. Which one would be the bridge breaks, or like Richard gets arrested. But like, I don't really think the former is likely, and I don't think the latter is likely. So, I reckon, we've probably been kicked in the teeth about as much as we're going to get kicked in the teeth, most likely. That's sort of my theory on this. So, and I think as these other guys come on, there's going to be fun speculation. You're going to be able to kind of play between the different protocols, and there's going to be a lot of different ideas, and all that stuff really just enriches what we're doing with PH stuff, because we're really service providers. We're not the cool meme coin, that's going to change the world or anything like that. We're the thing that makes fees off of everything. So we're pretty excited to see all these guys launch their stuff.
Yeah, just in passing conversations or anecdotal type mentions with people from the Pulse Chain tour, and correct me if my sentiment might be on target, but I did say multiple times over the weekend, somebody somewhere is going to make an absolute killing with leverage on Hex, Pulse, and or Pulse Chain. Like that, somebody's going to do it. It's just
which direction though.
Right, exactly.
Is it going to be Eric Wall, or is it going to be Richard with the leverage? Right? I mean,
taking on Buck's point about how it's just like we've been kicked in the face almost too much at this point. I would lean to the long side, provided something like he mentioned does not happen. So I would skew that way. But yeah, I think with these tools now, someone out there, maybe multiple people.
It could be you, Anon. You could be the guy.
Yes,
you never
Anon,
know if you don't try.
with your.
It could be Westcott, man. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe he'll make it all back now. Yeah. Or Brizology, or any of those guys. Yep.
Yeah, we need Briggsology to win. Ain't that right? Anyways,
We're coming up on an hour or so, and BK, did you say?
I was just gonna say, I think the saying goes, even a blind squirrel finds a nut from time to time.
And it could be a very big nut with this ecosystem, depending upon which way you go there. We did have actually wanted to get to one question first. Might have been answered in the chat already, but from Hex Machine, does PHLP and PHUX affect your famous APR, or can we do both?
No. So when you provide for PHLP, that itself is a yield-bearing asset, right? Now you can take that yield-bearing asset, go chuck it in the 4G pool, and make more yield on top of that yield. Okay, so It doesn't affect
on yield.
exactly. Yes. So it doesn't affect what you're making in your PHLP, right? Because you still own that stuff. It's just you're farming it on top of it already making yield. So there's a little bit of power going on there.
And you're gonna want to spell that affect, not effect. X machine.
Effect. Yes.
Mhm.
And he also has a testimony here. Thanks to PHAME, I have finally learned how to get my short liquidated. Forever grateful.
Fantastic. Yeah, we thank you for your service, Hex Machine.
There you go.
That's great news. Yes. Remember that this is player versus player. So for every winner, there's a loser. That's the way the game works. And but you can choose any side you want, or you can provide LP and you can bet against the traders. So it's a fair game. Choose wisely. One bet might be right one day, and then it might be wrong the next. I was at the top of the leaderboard yesterday, and now I'm at the bottom of the leaderboard. Just like that. It's worse than golf. So yeah, that's kind of the nature of the beast. So yeah, don't put your life savings into these things. The purpose of them is to help you manage your risk, not to just put all of your risk into one bucket, right?
Sir, so I'm not supposed to max bid with my life savings?
No, definitely don't max bid with your life savings ever, anywhere, not just here. Diversification is the only free lunch that you get in investment. So it's a great tool to actually help you diversify it, because let's say you're like who's the guy that likes the pump and dumps, Wolverine, like you're Wolverine, and you've got hex stakes coming out for the next decade, right? You can hedge your hex stakes with shorts, because you're going to basically constantly have your hex ladder coming out. So you no longer have to be as worried about, the price of hex going up or down. And you can hedge just part of it, and you can then go invest somewhere else. Right. So like there's a lot of useful things that you can do with this thing that don't necessarily involve, just being a 30x long degen. But if you want to be that person, we've given you a safe place to go do it, and that's fine. I think it's better that the community owns it. I'm kind of one of these guys that's like in favor of legalizing drugs, even though I'm not a drug user, because I want to make sure that it's done properly and safely and all that stuff. So I think about these things as well. Like somebody's going to make a market for it. You'd rather be kind of community run and done with proper audits and all that stuff, than have it be some colossal rug pull that happens later, on the exchanges or something like that. You see what happens when these unaccountable people end up with too much of the coins.
Yeah, there's just better game theory and all of this way anyways. I mean, like when you're doing leverage trading on an exchange of any kind, you don't see what the house they see everybody's bids, they see everybody's everything, whereas here everybody sees it, everybody's trades, everything's public on the blockchain. So like for better or worse, like you said, this is a PvP. So like your information, you make you're on the button on the trade, somebody else can see that too, which is, I think is better overall than just some anonymous, like you said, some anonymous corporation that sees that can just, take your money on all sorts of scam wicks all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. Like we all know the memes on, BitMEX where, like Zach goes in there, I need a new Lambo, run the stops. And then you see the fucking, you see the candles go like this. And then magically, my prices or my order's not executing right now. The market's too volatile. And then you get the fucking error message pop up on BitMEX. And oops, you're liquidated. Whoops, sorry. You get your notification in your email.
I saw that Arthur Hayes guy in Singapore, and he was like the most popular guy there. Everybody wanted to be his best friend. I was thinking, hey, didn't you assholes get like ripped off by this guy?
Like you got charged and shit. Like what?
Yeah, the guy like narrowly avoided doing prison. They gave him probation, but you know, and
Buck, maybe it was a case of like, you know, the rapper that gets his album, you know, and then he goes to jail, and then oh my god, now he's the most popular rapper in the world, right?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, basically it was a bit like that. I was a little surprised because yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure Richard lost a lot of money on BitMEX in 2017 is my guess. And you know, I think you know, Hex was partially a creative response to that incident, I would imagine. Yeah,
I do believe that is correct.
I mean, that's how, you know, I found Richard on one of his, he had a tutorial video on how to leverage trade and how to go long on Bitcoin in 2017. And I saw it once, didn't think much of it. And then when I started seriously listening to him, I went to try and go back and find that video, and he had deleted it by the time I, but you know, if you know what I'm talking about, it's been around for a while.
If you want to know, you know, why Richard Hart talks down on leverage and trading, then fuck safely with Famous. There you go. PHUCK.
yeah. Well, I think Richard would think that owning the casino is probably a pretty cool thing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. The traders will come regardless, right? As long as there's somewhere where they think they can make money, right? But I think owning the casino is generally a pretty unless you're Donald Trump, it's pretty hard to lose money on casinos. But yeah.
Hashtag Atlantic City.
Yeah. Shout out to Donald if you're listening.
He watches the show, so thanks, Donald, and good to see your. I don't know how your son, you know, got in, you know, with Richard Hart and was tweeting about it, last week, but that was really cool. Tell Don Jr. we all say hey from the show as well. So yeah,
that was pretty funny, that incident. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that Donald took it in stride too. Actually, he kind of laughed about it. He and his brother. It was pretty good. I'll tell you, you know, like for all of Trump's kind of weirdness, like his kids actually, and I've met 2 out of 3 of them. Like his kids are pretty all right people, I have to say. Like, which is surprising because
you're like, how did that happen?
Actually, he's got 5 kids, but like I've met 2 out of 3 of his like original set of children with Ivanka, yeah, they're actually like pretty like okay. I mean, they love themselves, of course, right? But you know, like that's not necessarily a terrible thing either.
No.
And then you look at Joe, and Hunter.
Tell you what the fuck happened there.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird one. Joe, who's like otherwise pretty, you know, pretty affable, you know, like everybody's uncle, and you know, he's got crazy, insane, Ukrainian dealing, meth using, but yeah, I don't know. It's a
phrases. Yeah,
it's a weird one. Yeah, I don't know. I just wonder what would happen if like the shoes were reversed. You know, like if Hunter,
you know what would happen.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
We all know.
It's ridiculous. Oh
yeah,
gosh. Yeah. Quick question. This is just for me. Where'd you get the hit drip? The guys at hexmerch.com also got this tank top and a lot of other beachwear. But yeah, there you go, Hex Famous. And also shout out to the Pulse Chain Tour crew because they have some nice merch. Got a sweet Pulse X hat. So good stuff there. Go to the tour, guys. I think it's Miami in a couple Saturdays. So.
I'm just surprised that people still wear Pulse X hats. Just, you know.
Actually, I think it is Pulse Chain. My bad.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You got the Pulse Chain hat on. Yeah.
When PH merch. So.
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, I'll send some logos over to the Hex merch guys. I guess I have a line to that. So, but yes.
Yeah. Those guys over yonder. But yeah, I guess you know, before we wrap, Bucky touched upon it, but you know, I guess you know it's obligatory at this point. You know, in doing a stream, you know, the RH, SEC, you know, where are we at, kind of thing. Obviously, like in a limbo. I guess my view has changed. I was never like the fight until the end, because by the time years go by, I think your ecosystem is kind of wrecked. Talking about like Pulse Chain, so I was kind of in the camp of like a lot of other people have settled. Maybe he'll do that, but just kind of reading Richard's profile, seeing the way that he's acted, seems to me, and I've mentioned this on the show before, I'd love to get your take on it. And of course, Big K has heard me say this, and I'd love to get Dylan's take on it. Is he just trying to run out the clock kind of thing, not getting served, and then taking it to the next level where the feds, have to hunt him down to try to serve him, and then do the CZ thing to where ultimately they try to serve him on Twitter, even though he doesn't read messages. Where is the consensus thinking of this panel as to where that is? Because the call date or whatever it is November 28th, or something like that. Yep. And I don't think that has a huge meaning unless they plan to settle. But just curious as to your guys' thoughts on that, since we haven't really discussed it recently.
Yeah. So I think I agreed largely with what you just said. So very clearly he's been avoiding getting served. That was the whole reason we launched Pulse so fast as well, in hindsight, right? There were probably a lot of things that were rushed because of that. And that all makes sense now. And I think from his perspective, it makes sense to kind of keep your head down and run out the clock. I don't think this regulatory regime is likely to persist forever. And I also think the SEC is front running, as the guy in Congress was saying yesterday, front running Congress getting into this space. Like that, they're trying to apply rules that are related to businesses, that were designed 100 years ago, right? This is a totally different, beast, right? You wouldn't regulate automobiles the same way you were regulating horses, in 1903 or something like that. It's just, you need to come up, if you're going to have crypto regulation, it's going to have to come from Congress with proper, properly considered things specific to crypto, right? And ultimately Congress is exercising the will of the people. Not to mention this is a global asset class that will continue regardless of whatever Gary thinks. When I was in Singapore, I got to say all the billionaires were there. And they're there because they're all there, and they're openly saying, like, we're coming to Asia because the U.S. is dropping the ball on this. So I think there's definitely going to be some semblance of that. So I do think actually Richard's going to be just fine, because I don't think, even if everything they claim about him is true, let's say, ultimately, I just don't think that they have the legal right to be going after him. It's just clearly not within their legal mandate to be pursuing, this pure DeFi technology that is Hex. And they're not helping us as a community; they're hurting us. We all agreed to the sacrifice terms as a community, right? We weren't misled or anything there, so we're all basically adults that are doing our own thing. And it's because we want to get away from guys like Gary. Now, Gary was a partner at Goldman's. He's exactly the reason crypto was invented, was to disintermediate those institutions, at least partially, from your finances. Not all the time, but some of the time. And and you can see really who he's sucking up to. He was happy to take money from Sam Bankman-Fried, and then when that well dried up kind of spectacularly, they had to find, they had to go take money from somebody else. So I think Richard, I don't know if the November 28th thing is going to be the end of things. because I imagine probably they'll just kick the can down the road. But I felt, having listened to Brad Garlinghouse and other people, it's just like the judges really. One thing I didn't understand is how much the judges really hate the SEC's overreach here. It's something I didn't quite appreciate. The U.S. government is not, like a monolith, right? There are all these different departments, and they have pissing matches over things like this, and so they despise the SEC, front running, Congress, let's say. So if you're Congress, you're like, what are you doing? We haven't told you to do this. You shouldn't be doing this. And then the Justice Department, the legal departments, the judiciary, they're looking at this going, well, they're like cops basically trying to say, well, the law says that you're able to do this and not this, right? So that they all resent what's going on as well. So I have to think it's a pretty unpopular thing that he's doing. So in the long run, I think this Gensler regime is going to collapse. If anything, all he's going to manage to do is maybe set up some decent on ramps via BlackRock and other things. That might be the plus side of his legacy, because I think that's definitely coming. But yeah, like how do you regulate? How does the SEC regulate DeFi? It just doesn't make any sense. Honestly, like something that's on the chain that anyone can create a contract, and it's totally global. Like it just doesn't make any sense. So
and like involving the legal system in that, like the judges don't want, you just made a ton of extra super tedious work for them to understand any of this. Like, why would they want? I can understand why they're pissed off about it. Like it's not what they want to be doing.
Well, there's plenty other stuff they can be focused on too, right?
There's a limited capacity for what the justice system can actually take on. They don't have endless resources.
Yeah. So I think this thing is frivolous. Obviously, a lot of it's bullshit. Like nothing Richard's done is really any different than what any other major founder has done. And I think he's much maligned. Partially that's self-inflicted, because I think his own messaging has probably been poor. Which I think he now recognizes, because he's sort of changed his tact a bit.
Hashtag humble.
Yeah, he's not humble, but really, there's no reason why Richard Hart should be the enemy. Like the guy's done basically the same stuff that CZ or any other founder has done. I would just like to have him back. Like to his former role.
We all miss him.
Yeah. I want you back. All right, here we go. Pulse Former, what is up? Good seeing you at the Atlanta stop. So there was also talk at that stop, oh my gosh, what's the worst that could happen? I think, Buck, you mentioned earlier, like DOJ, another one. What if stablecoin providers blacklist the bridge and such?
I mean, that's a risk. It'd be nice to have these, like Coast is a great alternative that we have to kind of, you can kind of spread your risk around in preparation for something like that. But
really, would love to see Coast grow and grow. So, like, eventually, we have multiple stable coins like that. So, the ecosystem can stand.
That's not going to happen, though. Yeah. Come on.
Hey, hope and change.
No. I mean, they're not going to blacklist the bridge. Like, come on. Like,
okay.
Why would you ever use their stablecoin again? You know what I mean? It would be.
They basically be going public with like, we can do this, and
that's punishing the wrong people for something. Like, I mean, you don't actually hurt Richard at all by fucking blacklisting the bridge. In that regard,
hurt real people.
But you hurt your own brand by doing it.
Yeah.
It's you hurt your own brand and a bunch of people who use you, and that's really bad.
Like there'd be like the guy from Circle would have to like worry about his safety every time he speaks at a conference, because there'd be somebody It'd be like a Mount Gox.
Disillusioned Texicans.
Well, just like, not even just somebody who happened to be using the bridge. It's like, why have you done this to me? Like it's categorically unfair. So
he literally stole my money.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that could happen is, someone could go after those large sacrifice wallets that hold, massive amounts of coins and things like that. But they're not coming after the bridge.
Yeah. That was also brought up over the weekend, by the way. So I mean, that's one of the.
I mean, there was some slight fear, some FUD that came out about what was it Seller? I can't remember the provider that had blacklisted or had said that they were blacklisting bridge transactions for a minute, and then they released a statement saying that they were not. There was a mistake, that they were not. They weren't trying to do that. So nobody's stopping that. Nobody's going to stop.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're going to do it to Pulse Chain, you need to do it to Base, and you need to do it to everything else. You know what I mean? Like you can't just pick, the ones that you think are okay. Like it doesn't work that way. It needs to be kind of treated equally. So there's just no way that's going to happen. It'd be massive brand damage, and we would just use things that can't do this, like DAI or LUSD or whatever, or alternatively
CST.
Yeah, but I mean, Coast probably can't solve all our problems, necessarily. Like we need a bigger solution than that. But that's not one thing that worries me. I'm more worried about the bridge being hacked than that happening.
Let me run through any other outstanding comments or questions. I think we actually covered them all, but I just want to be sure. At the beginning of the stream, I guess people were saying when my coins pool, incentive pool on PHUX, and then people shilling that stuff. But yes, everybody wants to gauge. It's like the new thing right now. You want to get like the night from the PHUX. Yes,
you should want to gauge. It's a very good thing for your coin.
Yeah.
Like one of the hardest things about launching a coin is getting people to provide LP. Like where's that money going to come from? The PHUX incentive is a very powerful incentive. We've seen it work wonders for many people. So
I love the PHUX incentive, and thank you for.
We're here. We're here to help, guys. All you people launching your products, Pulse Chain, come find us. We'll help you get your coin actually liquid.
And even if you just love the Richard Hart ecosystem, you can basically buy it as an index fund and multiple things as index funds, really, over on PHUX. So you can buy all the coins.
Yeah. And like I said, it's free. You can think of PHUX as, instead of doing a sacrifice, what we ask you to do is we ask you to just sacrifice temporarily your coins as LP, right? So it's like, rather than me taking $1 billion from you for a DEX, I give you the DEX, but I just need you to provide LP, right? Not so bad. It's a pretty good deal. You run a little bit of impermanent loss risk, but other than that, there's really not any other risk that matters really, other than like contract risk. But it's pretty good code. To me, it sort of makes a heap of sense, and the model is clearly working. We have very good volume there. The most active members of the community are there, putting on, putting their products there. So we feel pretty confident about its position. Richard doesn't seem to be very interested in third-party coins, which maybe is strategic.
And logos, yeah, that's it.
No logos. Well, it may be that also that like he doesn't want to be seen as monopolizing Pulse Chain either, right? Maybe he wants to, kind of let other people, shine a little bit as well. Like for the legal case, I can think that would be a pretty good reason actually. so yeah, we're very happy to fill that niche. Like I get thank yous from founders pretty regularly who we've helped get up, and we're gonna keep doing that because it's ultimately all accretive to our mission.
Double Down 11. Hey, should I be staking these coins or can I just hold? Well, what coins, man? I mean, if you're talking PHAME, then you can earn some cool stuff. But yeah, that's a general statement there.
It's quite a complex. It's quite a complex question as well. There's a lot of nuance there to that one.
Yeah,
do more research.
Yeah, I need to research that question further.
PHAME.
Oh, he says PHAME.
Yeah, no, you should if your time horizon is more than 14 days, you should definitely be staking them.
Or you can provide liquidity with them. You can sell them, you can buy them. There's whatever you want to do, man. But if you stake them,
why I said if your time horizon is more than 14 days, I think providing LP is pretty cool in that either the Pareto pool or the 4G pool, just because you get pretty good yield from the PHUX emissions. But then you're running impermanent loss risks, and you're running risk that the PHUX token drops as well. But I think that's a pretty cool way to play it. But I've staked all my coins basically, so I'm pretty happy doing that. The fees are going to be pretty attractive, like they're still ramping up because it's sort of on a rolling 7-day payout. There we go. Gold key tweet buck down. I think I'm down more than that.
Yeah, let me look. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
Down $2,875. So
okay, good.
I'm sorry. Yeah, 2,800. Yep.
I hope I lose $10,000 because I think that's roughly the size of the position of the principal. So please liquidate me, guys, as much as you can. But just know that I've probably got like $1 million worth of pulse X in spot. So I'm not really losing money net. I'm actually making a lot of money. So yes, please liquidate me and make fun of me.
Yes, that's the best part. Love the chat. Love the chat. Not just here, but on the socials as well. So, well, I think we've gone through pretty much everything. Went through the question list. So yeah, we are good there. I don't see anything else that I missed really. We can wrap it up here in a minute. Big K, as AJ Whip City. Thanks, Buck, for his service, as do I, and many others.
Yes.
Just a quick football note. Everybody got wrecked in the pool, man.
Oh.
It's just me. Shout out Expensive Taste. Her and I are the only ones left in it. So we might do another edition of Happy Hour Fumble Fridays, maybe next week if everybody gets eliminated. So yeah.
I was very poor. I couldn't believe there was.
And what's up with your Bears, bro?
Oh my God, we're the worst. We're the worst. It's just whatever.
I thought you're
whatever. It's a painful time.
Have a better year, but yeah.
It's just I watched the first game with some friends of mine, and just like the realization we're all from Chicago of like, oh, I like watching football, but this is just going to be another year of fucking agony. It's a miserable time. We're like, this fucking sucks. Yep.
Totally. And those Cubs, man, that was an awful loss.
Yeah, we're about to.
I'm sorry, dude. Your city in sports.
Away a great season.
Yeah,
this is just a story of my life, though. I'm used to it. I used to say it like, why does St. Louis have 10 rings and the Cubs have like none or one or whatever? It was because like that city needs those wins. It sucks to live in St. Louis. Fucking sucks. Whereas Chicago is an awesome place, and Wrigleyville is a badass place to see.
Wrigleyville's awesome.
Deserve the rings. We're having a party every 82 days a year.
Yeah.
So like, why the baseball gods should not give us? We don't deserve that.
No, that
Those
was an
are
experience
everything.
to see you throw out the first pitch with the Pulse Chain Barabon last year and meet everybody out there like that. Like you said, it was they're playing the Padres in like June.
Yeah, we got our asses handed to us,
and just got
it was
killed.
Still an awesome time,
and it was a great time because like the stadium was like 3/4 or close to full, it's just the vibe.
Yeah, it's just not usually unique. You know, when I did music events versus sporting events, like I'd always be like, man, music events are great because 98% of the people leave like happy. You know, we went to see music, we saw music. You know, when sporting events, like half the people leave upset. You know, a lot of times pretty fucking pissed off. You know, you spend a bunch of money to be sad. You know, that's
like
painful.
Like,
being able to buck that system, you know, no pun intended, is fantastic. So that's why I really enjoy that as far as sports go, you know, that place in general. So yeah, the Cubs suck, but it's all good. I enjoy. I can't wait to be back.
You know, the problem with Chicago is it's those MAGA Republicans in Streeterville at 2 a.m. You got to watch out. You got to watch out for them.
There's some wild ass places. There's one of them for sure.
Big K, as we close it out for the day, where can we find you, good sir?
You can find me here. You can find me on Twitter and Telegram at Big Krakowski. You can find me fucking hunting the stops on Fame.
BigK.eth.
You can find me. That's about it. Maybe we'll do a steak and bake here soon. I was talking to Freddie about it. So.
Oh, there you go. And shout out to Freddie Quotes, just put out some new music, and see him all over Twitter the past 24 hours if you're into that sort of thing. So, yeah, we have a fun time over in Black Hexagon's fantasy football group. It's a fun time on a stream that nobody watches on Tuesday night, but it's some of the bets that occur are kind of fun. I know Buck likes to make financial bets, but these are like, you know, going on a date with a teddy bear if you lose and filming it, and or going out into the middle of the street and, you know, saying how bad you are at fantasy football and all that stuff. So yeah. Kate Hudson, what's going on? Not Kate Hudson. Dylan, your tech support is requested, by the way.
Yes, I see somebody's trying to DM me. Yeah, guys, if you have any questions about anything PH, you can reach me via DM at, you know, you go on Telegram, okay? You go in the search bar, you type in Hexastani, and you'll see me, okay? But you want to verify that it's me, you go to the PH chats, right there, that link. You go to Famous, you go find me there, you click on my profile, you talk to me. I'll help you out, okay? Do not bother Buck. Don't bother Buck. He will block you.
If you want to bother me, you have to send me your private keys first.
Yes. Just don't mess with him. Yeah. So but it's just me. I'll help you out. I have a limit to how kind I can be, right? If you're just a fucking retard, my patience has worn thin over the years, okay? But I'll tolerate you for a while.
That's the clinical term, right? A fucking retard. Yeah, Dylan's patience is about 50x greater than my patience. Yeah. So I really encourage you to speak to Dylan.
Yeah, bother me. So, but yeah, you can find us all on Telegram, right? You can find us on Twitter via Telegram. All the links, you know, I'm not going to shout them off here on stream, but, you know, follow us all on Twitter and all that stuff. But yeah, also join the trading chat, guys. Okay. The trading chat is hold on, let me get the exact link for you guys here. Hold on. T.me/fiat fame PHUX. All one word. Okay. No spaces, no underscores, nothing. Just T.me/fiat fame fucks. Okay.
Yeah.
And go shitpost, go post your P&L cards, go brag about how you're winning and everybody else is a retard. Post memes, you know, it's not run by Nazis. So you can go have fun there. All right. But yeah, post your charts, right? Your TA. You know, go say how the moon is, you know, red today. So we're going to go green in the charts. And, you know, we love that stuff, right? Just be as schizophrenic as possible. And, you know, just have a great time. So, yeah, come to the trading chat, go post about trades, go talk about macroeconomics, whatever. And say why your hex is going to go to the fucking moon. Okay. So yeah,
please buy PulseX, guys.
And PulseX.
Yeah, go buy PulseX.
Go buy PulseX. I appreciate you.
Yeah. So, yep, that's how you can find
Operation
out.
Liquidate Buck.
Yes, that's a great thing to be trending, guys. You know, Buck is a natural shorter, so Buck's getting liquidated. We're all making money if we're long. Okay, so yes.
There you go. I think you about covered it. Any final words there, Buck?
No, I think thank you for this and all the other times we've been on. I guess, the important thing that's happened for us is that we've now delivered the 3 things that we promised. So now we're going to be fine tuning them. I think we really support the communities. We really appreciate the community's support in everything that we've done so far. This has not been an easy year for us, obviously. Like the boys have been working their asses off. There's a bit of demoralization coming from price performance of the RH coins and the SEC stuff, which I think is unfortunate. But I do think we decide when this thing's finished, and I think there's still a lot of very dedicated people that are going to keep things running. I was very buoyed by the XRP guy at this conference, because they've already gone through this, and the guy had a big happy shit-eating grin on his face, and I was thinking, that could be us someday. So I think we need to collaborate more. We need to kind of organize better. I think we're probably on our own for a while. Like if I'm being honest, like I don't think Richard's going to come back suddenly start streaming again tomorrow. So we need to start to figure out how to promote Pulse Chain as a community in effective ways that kind of get the word out there. So yeah, I guess that's about it.
But on that note, I'd have thought if you're in the UK and you want to meet up or see cool things, the Hex Racing team, as far as some cats that are cool, that are unique and have something going on in person regularly, they have got very awesome cars. Those Lambos are super sick and have been winning all over the place. So they're probably going to come in first in their league again this year. So I just wanted, when I was out there recently, I met up with a bunch of those guys, and would always love to push that. Hey, if you want to meet up with some cats that are going to be international, hopefully this coming race season.
Shout out to Turbo and his hot girlfriend. Definitely,
top cats.
Top cats. There you go.
Some cats, not just any cats, but top cats.
And they have some kick-ass. The footage that they put together about all their seasons and stuff is pretty top notch too. So you can take a look.
Shout out to the boys and girls over there. And what's up, Meltoni? Good to see you. But we're gonna close it out for this week. So just want to say thank you guys for coming on. It was a good conversation. 90 minutes just flew by.
It did.
And always appreciate you, Dylan, and Buck. Of course, co-host Big K as often as you attend, sir. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, I missed the last couple with y'all too, so I was glad to make it.
Yeah. And thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome as always. I'm doing a bit of traveling next week, so I'm not sure if there's a show at the end of the week or not. That's a little iffy, but definitely 2 weeks from now we'll be back. But yeah, otherwise, that'll be about it for today. I could stand up. I'm not in the same gas station bathroom as Richard Hart, so I could be like, hey guys, Pulse Chain is live.
Launched.
Go and play with your coins.
That is a good Richard Hart impression right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've been live, and we have great stuff with the PH ecosystem that pretty much is fully live now. We have Liquid Loans coming, we got Power City coming, and all the others. So good stuff ahead. Just hang in there, guys, and we'll see where it goes together. Until the next time we get a show together, thank you everybody for coming, and we'll see you next time. So cheers everybody with some shine.